happy Tuesday, May 26th. Welcome to another exciting edition of Rate Desk. I'm your host, Michael Thomas, here to talk with you about multifamily interest rates and other news. Going to the markets, they are in the green today. They are up on positive news, upbeat news regarding a potential vaccine. Gosh, we should start naming this like Vax News or something. It seems to have such a gigantic impact on the market, so we're seeing them up. There's some high points that were touched on both the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 from recent March and February data. So that's nice to see. It's also nice to see the crude oil staying in the $33 barrel range. That's great. We like to see that. Also, looking at the U.S. 10-year yield, we're looking at 0.70, 70 basis points. So it is up a little bit from where it was last week at the close, but not a ton. We're seeing a lot of stability continue in the multifamily mortgage market. So the FHA rates are up a little bit, but relatively flat to last week. 250, 2.50 on the 223F loan. And on the 221D4, an incredible 315, 3.15. Agencies are flat again, 320, really looking at both Fannie Mae DUS and Freddie Mac. What I want to talk to you today about are a couple of interesting things. The first one I want to point out is the variable interest rate markets. Looking at bridge financing, I think I mentioned that a little bit last week. I was speaking with a bridge lender today, and they're very active. In fact, they've got 50 applications in their queue right now. That's incredible. Good for them. And it shows that there are a lot of folks out there wanting to still acquire properties and move forward. And that's great to hear and great to see. They use Libor, the London Interbank Offering Rate, which is going away at some point. They're using that as a benchmark index. However, because it's gone down so much, they now have a floor. Their floor is 25 basis points, 0.25. The actual 1 month Libor today, according to the Wall Street Journal, is 0.17. Okay, so not a huge delta there, but check this out. The 52-week high of the 1 month Libor, 2.44. That's incredible. What a difference. And it just goes to show you that in the variable interest rate market, there can be lots of volatility. We were in a very flat period for a long time, really, on multifamily rates, where it didn't seem to matter if you had a short duration loan or even something that had a variable component to it. People weren't worried about that. Now going forward, I think people are going to really consider repricing risk more and look more at that long-term fixed rate stability. Last thing I want to mention to you today, the National Green Building Standard. If you are a HUD borrower or you aspire to borrow from HUD, you will want to get familiar with NGBS. That program going forward is really what I see as the kind of the benchmark standard that it feels like HUD is going to go forward with. We don't have anything official yet on that. Of course, the new map guide hasn't been published. That's been delayed. We're thinking it'll still be published maybe late summer, July perhaps. We should get a new issue of the FHA map guide. But I do believe the NGBS will be important. Why? I have a property right now, the only path forward, NGBS remodel. So it's a good program. It's more intensive. I think that's why HUD likes it. And it can be used to really set the standard of what energy efficiency at the property level is supposed to be. Last thing I'll just mention, I saw that there's a webinar tomorrow. There's going to be Willie Walker from Walker & Dunlop speaking with the governor of Colorado, Jared Polis, on reopening and the state of reopening. I'll leave you with this thought. Reopening multifamily, what does that mean? What does that mean to you? And how are you going to proceed in reopening your multifamily properties? Are you going to do it in a phased approach? Or are you going to do just a big summer barbecue? I don't know. It seems to run the gamut across the board if you watch the news of how people are handling this state to state. Love to hear your comments. As always, thank you for tuning in. This has been another edition of Rate Desk. I'm your host, Michael Thomas, signing off.